G'day and welcome to the second and final part of the interior makeover on your car for 80 bucks. And it wasn't 80 bucks, it ended up being 99. So that's all it cost. This video is quite long. It's in two sections. The first one's just the interior and what we do and how we do it and all that sort of stuff. And then I sort of got carried away. And I ended up buying another spare wheel and giving the exterior a bit of a clean up and a few little bits and pieces like that. And we do a final costing. Not just on the interior, but later on at the end of the video on the whole car. So we've still got a cheap car given what we've got. So hope you enjoy. My mass storage area. Buried in here somewhere, actually I think up behind those XC guards are starlet carpets. I had a carload of starlet stuff I threw out. And the only reason I didn't throw the carpets out into that car that went to the crushers is because I forgot about them. So it's kind of handy. I've got to get everything out of here. Those XC guards, I'm going to get them out too, because I've got to start working on them as well, so we'll make a start. Let's see what we've got here. I pulled this out. These were really dirty and I power washed them to use them. Consequently never used them. Let's have a look. The other ones are just so gross. Oh, hang on, this is a seat cover. Why don't I buy seats? Let's see what we've got. Not these seats. XD Falcon GL rear seat cover off my XD. That's the fuel tank mat. Oh, here's the cargo mat. Here's the bit I want to see. Carpe. Oh, look at that. Oh, grass seats, I don't know. They look pretty crap too. Yeah, they're a lot cleaner than what's there though. I haven't got holes in them or anything. That's the back seat. Oh, they're the back vertical parts of the seat. And, oh, that's the bit I bought today. That's a waste. Oh well, I'll deal with that later. I forgot about all the grass seats. But I'll just see if these don't look like they're going to be any good. Why use them? Pretty easy. But I reckon I can vacuum them up. Grass seats are a pain in the neck to get up, but oh, particularly when they've sort of ingrained themselves. Does that go around there? I think it does. I think. And then they clip into those things like that. It's a little bit worn, but it's a fairly good carpet, all things considered. I'll just straighten out that underlay. And I think we might stay with this one. What do you think? Look alright to you? I think we will. Just clip those in. And we'll try and clean these up a bit more, I think. Great bread and butter cars these for people starting to cut their teeth on vehicle restoration, because you don't have to spend much money to buy one, and you can just, if it doesn't go well, you can just throw the thing out when you're finished, or not finish it and just throw the thing out. So I'll give these trims a wash. You can see behind there cigarette ash all down here as well, so we'll give that a bit of a clean up as well. This is the old spare wheel. It's all bald and the rim's got a big chunk out of it, or at least it's bent. That is repairable with a hammer, but for $31 from the wreckers, which isn't included in our $80 budget, I picked this up. 31 bucks. It's clean as a whistle. Just give it a bit of a power wash, get that white stuff off, and don't even need to repaint that. It's good as new. couple of things with these. 5-door cars all come with parcel tray speakers. 3-door ones don't. It was optional, and you'll see that little bit of loom there taped up. That's the rear loom plug for the speakers. So if you do end up putting a stereo and you want rear speakers in a 3-door, you just undo that and just run it out into your parcel tray, and you can stick some speakers there. Now, these seat belts, don't need to replace them by any means. These ones are a lot cleaner. If you see loose threads on seat belts, you can burn it off. It's just nylon. A lot of mechanics will, or used to, run along seat belts. Now, if there's any fraying, they're not roadworthy, and they would run along and burn off the fray. So they look like that. And that's a very old trick they used to do. I don't think it's legal. I don't think much in this world is legal, actually. But the labels will signify whether or not the seat belt's approved. Ball of crap hanging. There we go. So those labels must stay there. I'm going to change those over because I've got them. You don't have to, of course. These ones could be cleaned up. There's greasy marks on them. I don't like the idea of using solvents to clean anything like that. I think I've just gone completely out of frame. See those marks there? Someone's going to change them over because I've got them here. But again, you know, it's not really necessary. Just give it a coat of cheapy colour black. And you might say to yourself, well, why would you bother? Well, the same reason dogs, because they can. There we go. Remember, this is supposed to be a cheap makeover. Good thing about the weather today is everything dries so quickly, so I'm washing this with spray and wipe, bit of detergent, sugar soap, and rinsing it off with water and just letting it dry. But no matter where you look, there's always more. There's more of that cigarette ash. This stinks inside this thing. I don't know what that is, some sort of confectionery or chocolate or whatever, so I'll keep going and everything will be clean when we go and stick it back in. Two last things to look at. That's the cargo mat out of the old red car that was wrecked. It's in better condition than the one that was out of this one. Here's the door trim out of this car. Big cigarette burn. It was stretched in the vinyl around here. Otherwise it's not too bad. This is the one out of the red car. Very dirty, you can't see in this light. And also got a dusty appearance through here, but there's no burns in it and it's not going to stink, so I think we'll go with this one. Just going to give it a spray with a bit of kitchen spray. We'll loosen up any crap. I'm going to go over the fabric too. I might, where's my sponge? Oh, I forgot my toothbrush. Hang on a minute. I can only find this kid's toothbrush. I've got sugar soap in here, and I'm just going around loosening it all. Now this is just pure dirt. This was a dog's car. I had this car new, and I sort of gave it to my mother. Well, she bought a Corolla, and she didn't like it, and I love Corollas, so I gave her some money in this car, and this is a dog hack and bought a Volkswagen Polo. Or Golf, I think it was. I'm going to go around here, just scrubbing it. And it all comes off. This is just purely dirt. There's no grease in here or anything like that. So I'll just keep going and I'll come back in a moment. Oh, I'll just show you quickly. You can just literally wipe it off and it comes up like new. Sugar soap's really, really good. It's very cheap. Not sure if you're meant to use it on trim, but I am. I hope if this lady who I bought this car off, I actually never met her. I bought it through her son, and I hope if she ever sees these videos, she doesn't think I'm bagging her too much. My mother is worse with cars than she is. The only difference is Mum doesn't smoke. She used to, but you know that's the only difference. Although Mum always carried her services out religiously, where this car wasn't serviced on a regular basis, or at least that's what the paperwork sort of made out. Normally I wouldn't do this, but desperate calls call for desperate measures. Look at that dirt coming out of it. Now tomorrow's going to be 41 degrees Celsius. Look at that. So, but this is exactly what I don't like doing. Just squeegee that out of there. I just threw a bit of sugar soap on it before. It'll come back. Once I've got the carpets in, I've changed these seatbelt buckles. Not because I had to, just because they look better. They're ones I already had. Same with these belts at the back. These are in better condition, ones I had lying around. I actually cleaned in here with a bit of water and a toothbrush. It was all dirty around there, just like under the front carpet, but you can see just how lovely and clean it is now, so we can start putting this thing back together. So we can start with these trims and these trims. Whoa, these trims here. And then we go round to the two front seats, which are now finished. There we've got the rear mat, which I found a much better one. The other one would have cleaned up too. Back seats. There's a few little marks, there's a couple of stains down there. But I'm not too concerned about that. As long as they don't smell, we're good. So, let's start putting it together. Oh, before I forget, and the spare tyre. We'll just put it there, so we can get to the Schrader valve. I think I put too much of that silicone stuff on. Might wipe some of that off, I'm all greasy now. Whoa. So I keep kicking the camera. I think it was a bit overzealous with this silicone stuff. There we go. That's a bit better. Stick our tool bag down there. And that has to go more centrally, I think. Sort of like that, and that's cool. And like now everything's cleaned up, this is absolutely minimal time and effort. It's really, really good. Look at that. I think we screw that little bloke in there. Very good. These trims, how do these go? Sort of like that, don't they? Yeah, a lot like that, I think. Hang on a minute. It goes like that. This. Beautiful. Now to the other side, we're good. This is a crying shame because these things are knackered and I had really good ones. I can remember how this goes. Yeah, this is in terrible condition, this bit. How do you go? Like that? I'm tipping that's right. Fast press it's there, so that's one side done. Straighten that out later. I'll just put that seat in, I think. Back. And I can just do these things up the front and that will fold. Oh, here we go. Kneel. Nothing's more painful than kneeling on bolts. Gotta get these little locators. The other one went in straight in. Oh, hang on. Probably because that's the wrong bloody way around. Here we go. And that one goes like that. So it's going to be like 41 degrees tomorrow. And I wanted to have this finished today, but I went and helped Andy from the Ford Forum. Tremendous bloke. He was the one that gave me the headlights for the XC. They're rare as hen's teeth to get, and he had a set of reconditionable ones there. Gave me a grill, gave me all sorts of things. I didn't need the grill, so whatever I didn't use, I sort of passed back to him. But anyway, he's got a big coolant leak in his heater core, so we had to pop the dash out. And thankfully, it hasn't got air conditioning. So we popped it out and found the faulty core. Right. 3, 6, 8 of those other things, but it's nice being able to help people. Where are these going? straighten that mat out and we'll push these seats back, I think. Whoa. Too many sharp edges. There we go. Cool. Where's my parcel tray? There should be a stud here somewhere. There it is. And that will just snap in there somehow. Get this in without rolling the car back too far. I can't remember, I sort of went in like that, I think, and then to the side bit, that's it. Now I've got to plug that cigarette lighter in, and then this is just smooth sailing after that. Can button this up too. Oops, that goes like that. All holds each other in nice and tightly. Swap these for those crap looking ones. Hopefully, yeah, they're good. The other ones get all dirty. They went all dirty. These were out of another car and they're the same type of fastener, and they just look so much better when they're not full of whatever the crap was that was in here before. Look at that, so much nicer. I always notice stuff like that too. I don't want to scratch anything. Right, so the rear bolts look like this. They were the rear seat ones I'm talking about. They're the sort of protected at the back by covers and whatnot. The fronts on this one look like this. They're absolutely disgusting. I don't want to put those back. They can be cleaned up, of course. I just grabbed a couple of others when I got the seat from the wreckers. So I've got another 4 clean ones, which we can use on these, so it looks a lot better. Cool. There's my... Hang on a sec. I'll just start these ones here first. Just to pin the front down. I haven't got these runners even either. I'm going to have to... There we go. Is that right? I think it is. Put the back ones in. Swapped all our clips and the switch and what do you call that? Map bin into this door trim from the red car that was pranged. So we'll plug that in and hopefully everything will go as planned. I've got sticky crap all over my hands. There we go. Is that in? It is now. Rather good. Alright, then we'll put that thing on and that'll hold it in place. It looks pretty good. Right, so clean this up. I actually submerged this but took the foam out. The foam just pops out. And this has little finger things that go in. And somehow, no it doesn't, here we go, and then it sort of fixed down, and then we just pop these little screws in here, which I'm going to start with an electric because I can't be bothered screwing them in because they're huge, and I'll just tighten them up with a screwdriver. I don't like tightening up with an electric, there's less feel. We're running out of daylight though. So hang about, just let me tighten this up. Right, that goes in there and it's good. Cool. Alright, we'll give it a final clean tomorrow. It's all good. And we should be fine. Put this back in. And knobs. Sounds wrong. There's two here. This one is dry. This one's sticky. Now, a lot of that will depend on the person's hands. If they're dry hands, if they've got sweat and whatnot on them, we don't want to start getting into sticky knobs, sweaty palms and that sort of stuff. But that's the one out of this car, which I'm not going to use. This is the one out of Jeff's. Oh. Starlet, the silver one we wrecked. You can get Hilux new leather ones out of Thailand for $55. And they look the same underneath. I think that's on the gear shift. I don't know what the thread is. It looks like maybe a 12 by 1.25. So this will do for now. If it bothers me, I'll get one of those Hilux ones, but I think this is going to be fine. I'll just go and get a screwdriver for these. I was putting this back together. I've just noticed on the lady's way down to the ashtray, she's actually bumped her smoke into, or bumped a series of cigarettes in here. This all burnt. I've got this one. I'll try and clean this up. If it doesn't clean up well, I won't use it. We'll just see what happens with this. I'll just clean this up with a toothbrush and some kitchen cleaner. I think that's going to be better. It's really good on that edge. Same with this bin here. This is out of old Piggy. I call it Piggy, the red one I had. And that's where your CD player goes. This used to do the same sort of thing with their cars as well. If you can hear wind noise, it's because we've had a 42-degree day today. I think that's 108 or 109 degrees Fahrenheit. So a bit of a warm one. Open that leg out a bit and she should just pop out. So there we go. I'll go and tidy these up, or this up, and I reckon that'll rectify a problem. So that's the defective part there. It's just sort of all burnt down in that bottom corner, which wasn't immediately obvious until I put the car back together. So I've changed those out. Also changed that. I had another mirror. That'll clean up. That didn't need to be changed. The glass is in good condition. A couple of N14 Pulsar floor mats. They fit the Starlet floor plan quite well. Just put that back up there. If you look at the way that contours around the seat runner, that's really good. We'll stick one in the front. These were from a Pulsar Solaire. It was a special package that the Alexas had. That'll do. That's fine. I wouldn't mind another one of those clips. There's these clips that hold that tongue in, that clip in, and I'm missing one. And they're very hard to get. So I'm just going to loop this over here. But that's about it for the back. Don't forget the wiring loom is behind there if you want 4 speakers. And I'll just lower this. I've got some stickers somewhere. Some of these stickers. I don't know where they are. And we're good. So I've only been out here for about half an hour or so today because it's been very hot and it would have finished by now, but I'll have to come and do it tomorrow. Let's take stock of what we've done. Right, interior looks lovely. That's the driver's seat, no more cigarette burns. Passenger seats, no more stains. Blech. Back seat, no more cigarette burns either. It looks absolutely lovely. We had burns in our door trim down here. We've changed that. No more burns there. Haven't cleaned in here very well, but I did clean that. I don't know, I forgot. It doesn't matter though. I'll do it from the other side. It's easy to get to from the other side. Oh, hang on. I forgot the floor mat. Right, where were we? Floor mat. Yep, that's all done. Right, so we'll go on the other side. Open the boot on the way. Our cargo area. Lovely and tidy with this, which I haven't cleaned either. I forgot. It doesn't matter. The only thing, those trims there have had it. and I had good ones, but I threw them out. I've thrown lots and lots of parts of these out. And of course I've got a Nissan floor mats, which are out of the shed. Our clean-up gear knob. We've replaced our instrument binnacle, the surround for it. The radio doesn't work on the left channel. Now that's not likely to be a speaker, it's more likely to be a channel within the radio, but I think I've got one of those as well lying around somewhere. Steering wheel is disappointing, but what can you do? I can't find another one. But the general condition of it now is lovely. It's not new, it's not supposed to be new. This is just a little bit of an $80 makeover, and we're pretty much on budget. Right, so let's talk about the parts we've used in a little makeover. Of course, I think I stipulated before, none of the parts that I pulled out of it were strictly unserviceable. They could have been cleaned up and used again. I'll cut to a little bit of video in a second to show you why I've done it this way. Of course, we've replaced the carpet and mats. The mats include the cargo mat and the floor mats, which were ones I had from an old Pulsar in the shed. The right-hand door trim you can't see here. Of course, also the console, both halves of the console. The other bits, of course, were serviceable, as I said, just a few burns and bits and pieces. Now, we went to the wreckers. We've spent, I haven't written this down yet, I'm going to write it down. We've spent $53 on a seat and $28 for the back seat. You can't sit in here, that's just a bit of the seat was left over. When you go to the wreckers and pick up bits and pieces, and you have to be honest about this, you'll pick up bits and pieces like this, and they'll just say, most of the time, they'll just say, look, don't worry about that, we're only worried about the big stuff. And they quite often give you odds and ends like this. Having said that, Toy Parts in Ringwood, that's run by a lovely bloke now, and originally it was a lovely guy, but there was another bloke in between that owned it, and he'd charge you, he'd say, look at that and go, $8, you know, he was just ridiculous. So, you know, if you get a good wrecking yard to go to, it's a good thing. Of course, we changed the mirror. This didn't need to be done. It was just a little more. The one I put on was, obviously I cleaned it. That looks terrible, but it was a little bit tighter, so I'll use that. Wiper blades. These are the ones off the car. The other ones are drying at the moment. You can see they're rusty, but again, they can be resurrected. It's all good. Same with the seat belts. They're not going to get thrown out because they're still in good condition, just a bit dirty. Of course, I changed some of the headrest locks as well, as those other parts that we just mentioned before. But cost-wise, it's been very, very reasonable. So we're up for, hang on, the dog's here. The dog's blind. She can't see anything. Come on, darling. Come on. Yeah. She's very sick. We've had her 12 years and she can't see a damn thing. I might let her inside just a moment. So with additional cleaning and a little bit of black spray here and there, that's all very much reusable. Things like this, as I said, a bit of 400 and you'll never ever see that. So I just did it this way because I had the parts and I want to get rid of a whole lot of junk basically. The other thing is, the gear knob, I changed that. This radio, now this is out of the 97 one, the silver one that we didn't go ahead and rebuild. The radio I've got in the car isn't working on the left channel, and I don't know if it would be working in the rear because it doesn't have rear speakers. I can plug some in, I suppose, but I don't want to remove trims after I've just put them in. But what I figured I could do is swap it over this one. Having said that, they all work, but that thing, I might have to pull one apart. So look, that's a bit of fettling for a later time. As far as cleaning products and that sort of stuff is well, we don't need that. I actually put that there because I drink a heap of this and that's going into the bin. Right, so I did use prep wash. This stuff is, I don't know, $10 a litre or something. I only used a small bit of it. You could probably get away with using metho or something like that instead. This is Bostik, or you can get the Sally stuff as the original sugar soap. This is only a few dollars. Again, you can use kitchen cleaner instead. So I use that because I've got it. And of course, transmission fluid I used instead of Armor All on the exterior stuff. I used this thing on the interior and it was rubbish. I wouldn't even bother with those things, and ended up washing over it again because I didn't like the finish it left. So the standard soapy, warm soapy water and wipe off with the sponge leaves a nicer finish. So that's crap, we don't even need that. Toothbrushes, of course, some window cleaner out of the kitchen. Oh, that's my own stash from the garage because Susie always takes it. Kitchen spray, cheap tyre shine, that's great for the tyres, and the spare, and a couple of rattle cans. Now this I have to add on because that was $13 to our makeover cost. And of course some black satin spray paint, and that's $5. So what have we got there? 3, 6. So all up the cost of doing it, again using all the original stuff, not the stuff I did, if you were going to do using the original stuff, was $5 for this, $13 for that, $53 for the front seat, and of course 28 for the back, which is a grand total of $99. So that is well and truly worth doing. So that's the end of the first part of the video. Half an hour to put the thing back together and to talk about the costing of it. There's another 15 minutes of the external, not makeover, but just cleaning up and talking about parts as well. And at the end of it, I'll talk a bit about that red car. If you haven't seen the video, then it'll make a lot of sense regarding the parts. Now, it is worth saying at this point that if I'd not kept the parts of the red car or not cleaned them at the time, I would have cleaned up the stuff that I had in this car now. So it'll probably make more sense at the end. But anyway, the next 15 is on the exterior of the car. Just getting these decals off. They're all cracked and the writing's starting to smudge. I'm doing it the wrong way with the razor blade. You can see I'm doing little scratches. They'll buff out. But they're a pain. They're really, really difficult. There's other ways to get them off. There's solution you get and gunk off, whatever it's called. The life ones aren't as bad. So I'm going to continue with this. And it falls out when you put it in the... Actually, I'll turn that up. I'm just trying to get all this gunk out here. And then we will give the car a wash, which has nothing to do with the interior, but while we're in the mood to clean things and gear up to do the motorbikes and all that sort of stuff and the car doors, I think we'll do it. And that loose stuff will just come out when I wash it. I wonder if I should pop that toe. What's under the seal? That's a bit grungy too, isn't it? See how clean the car is? Oh shit, that's going to go inside the car, but see what I mean? It's just spotless underneath all that. We can just use this toothbrush. It's always a good idea to clean out all that grunge there because it holds moisture. I mean, it doesn't matter, these things don't rust. It just makes a much nicer car. I should say. Did I just say class? Good thing about this car is it came with its own cleaning tools. I don't want to fill the fuel tank up with water, but we'll just give it a quick lick and a promise in here, and hope that doesn't give it a mouthful of water, but should be right. Didn't get it all. Good thing about having a faded car, as you can see where the stickers go. I bought these ones years ago, and they came from the UK. I think all up for the two of them, Toyota and Starlet, they were $20 or $18 or something landed here in Oz. And they're these ones where they're actually, see it sticking to the base, which it's not supposed to do. They're actually reasonably tricky to pardon me, get off. They're not the original ones, so they're the wrong size and so forth, but that's all I can get at the time. Normally with these you put a mist of water or something down. I'm just going to stick it, I'm not using water, but it is slightly bigger. I'm just going to stick it on that line. And this isn't necessary, but you know what, this car's a bucket, but I just wanted to make it look like it's not quite the bucket that it is. So we'll just pop that off now and leave the font there. I don't know that the longevity on these is going to be all that good, but yeah, I reckon that looks a bit weird. What do you reckon? What does the original one look like? Well, that one's munted on the corner, but yeah, they're silver originally. I think those ones are white, but that'll do. That's not too bad. You can look past my tripod. That's cool. I can live with that. Believe it or not, I've also ordered the life one. I've scratched it there, but it doesn't matter much. Look, it's just polishing turds, basically. This is a service tool called a bone. It's a Volvo service tool. It's designed for getting trims off dashboards and stuff like that. And it's every mechanic needs one in their toolbox. They're just brilliant for everything. They're still available. I don't think they're dear. I think they're sort of $10 or $15 or something. But I wouldn't be without it. I'm just getting this residue off. This car had masking tape, or what do you call it, gaffer tape, holding on the indicator, which was broken. And of course, with our bounty of parts in a hoard, we had a lens here so we could just put it on. David did that actually, I was going to do it. But I need this car because I live in an area near Eastland Shopping Centre. You can just never get parks there. My school built a new junior school and the temporary fencing fell on my Commodore, and that was the last time I took that there. They paid for it all, it was all good, but it just annoyed me. And as I said before, I want to keep the mileage off the Commodore and use this for the takeaway food run so you can fill it full of pizza. It'll smell off for a day in the inside, but then it'll be fine. So I really feel I do need this car. This is an old car detailer's trick. You don't want much of this, it's automatic transmission fluid. And it works really well. You just don't want much. I can't stipulate that enough, because what'll happen is you don't want it streaking all over your paint. It wouldn't harm it, but it's going to look terrible. But it does make rubbers look a lot better now. I used to work at Nielsen Holden for a very short time in the 80s, in 1985. And the guy there used to do it because the used car department wouldn't spend money on buckets of armour oil. The tranny fluid was cheaper. So that's where this one came from. Let's get a screwdriver and push that into there, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Door handles, not a worry. And you can use Dexron. You can use any type. Just wipe the bulk of it off and it'll keep your car looking nice and fresh. They didn't use it on tyres, they used something else on tyres. Can't remember what that was. And doesn't that look a lot better? We've got a nice black handle and trim and mirror. And there are always going to be people who say you can't do that because it will affect the rubber and all that sort of stuff. You probably wouldn't do it on rubber, but you can certainly do it on plastic. Whatever the case, we can do whatever we want on a $300 car. It's got an exhaust leak, I think. It's a bit of puffing going on there. So for roadworthy, I think the number plate lights, I've got tail lights and everything. I don't think the number plate lights are working. No, they're not. So we need to figure out the stereo speaker, which isn't a roadworthy item, and stick a muffler on. I've got one under the house, I think. There's another cigarette burn I've just seen in the speaker grill. So if we want the thing perfect, which it doesn't need to be, then we'll have to fix a few other things. We have to fix this, where it's all scratched. And that's not hard to do, but it's going to be hellish to sort of to match. And the reason for that is because as you get higher on the car, we get more and more silver. And you can see on the roof, it's lovely in silver, and then it sort of comes down to blue. Now, this guard looks messy. It's been repainted badly, and I don't think it's worth replacing, although it is creased there a bit. So I've got a couple of other guards which I can put on, but you'd almost have to get some blue with some silver and just run it along the top in one pass to try and blend in with the bonnet, because that bonnet's faded as well. And the side of the car is very much blue. So there's that to contend with, which I don't reckon is bad. We've just got to tuck in the inner guard there to make it roadworthy, but the rest of it's alright. There's nothing jagged on there. And also the rear bumper cover, it's been backed into something, and that is a bit messy. It looks pretty crap. We've got all crazing marks there, and it's something, and then I wouldn't mind fixing that part. But you know what, that can all come later. I'm not too worried about it. My main issue is to get the thing roadworthy. So there we go. There's a little bit more cleaning up to do in here. Some leaves, and it just doesn't look very tidy. I'm going to take those wiper blades off and replace them. I've painted the other ones, but they're still wet, so I can't put them on yet. But that's it for a $300 bag. Oh, by the way, we stuck that plate there for a bit of a giggle. That's the car. I'll show footage of that car. That's the car where most of the beach from this came from. And of course, here's the car where all these parts have come from. There was another silver car I got, I think, the console from. This one was too dirty. But anyway, look, this is the car that the cyclist hit. Popped out from behind another car without a helmet on. It was quite a thick set guy, and ran up onto the bonnet into the windshield when my mother was driving it, so at Costco in Ringwood. She would have been doing about 30 k's an hour. She drives like an old granny because she is an old granny. Of course, that was the car I bought new. Now, it was also the car I did the makeover seat thing, which is a very embarrassing video. Please don't watch it. But I've got 700 something thousand views. It's ridiculous. At any rate, we stripped the car down, or at least I stripped the car down to this, and it looks pretty sore, sad and sorry for itself. It ended up going to the crushers when I nitpicked it clean. But you can see the condition of the interior, or what was left of it there. Whole lot of dirt and filth. And you know, I just took whatever I could from it that I thought I could reuse. Here are the carpets coming up now, and you can see out now that's already cleaned, believe it or not. Before I took them out, there was a lot of stuff that I lifted with a dustpan and brush in order to just to be able to get them out. So the carpet was absolutely knackered. Good condition underneath all that, but I ended up literally hanging it on a fence and beating it with a tennis racket for half an hour and then power washing it. It was that much of a mess. So it would have been far easier cleaning the seats that were in this blue car now. Of course, here's the engine that we're using in the blue car. It looks pretty grotty and grimy, but at the end of the day, it's a little cracker and it runs so well. So I'm very happy to being able to recycle all of these parts. So let's think a little bit about what this car owes us. Now, the car was $300 and it didn't look much different. I've changed wheel covers, a few other cosmetic things on it, but basically it ran well. It started and ran, all that sort of stuff, but it didn't drive because the clutch was absolutely fried in it. So we would have been up for a clutch if we'd gone down the road of repairing what was already there. Off that red car, of course, we used the engine, clutch and transmission. We used the radiator and fan, the left and front indicator lens, the flasher can, the rear engine mount, as well as all the stuff we used in the last couple of days on our interior makeover. Now, aside from that, I bought a whole lot of new bits and David fitted them. The brake drums and the front discs were all replaced. All the linings and pads were replaced. The rear wheel cylinders were replaced as well. The rear wheel bearings were replaced. The timing set was replaced, which is your belt and your pulleys. All other belts were replaced. The spark plugs were replaced. The right hand drive shaft was replaced. This is all brand new parts, by the way. There was a little bit of salt and pepper stuff at the edge of the head gasket. Dave pulled the head off and we put a new head gasket on. There was nothing wrong with the old one as it turned out, but it was worth a bit of investigation. So a new head gasket and stretch steel bolts were put in as well as a thermostat and a heavy duty battery. So we've done a lot of work on it, most of which didn't need to be done for the purpose of roadworthy, but I think the tyres as well. Two of the tyres are off that red car behind it, and the other two are off the silver car we had as well. So we've done a whole lot of stuff to it. I think for roadworthy all we need, I've got a hunch there's a leaky shocker. Whose is that? Is that the red one or the blue one? I can't remember. Of course there's that exhaust rear muffler which is under the house, and number plate lights as well, and we won't worry about that. And as you can see there, the wiper blades are on as well. So that is it for this one. So all up, ready for roadworthy. This car I'm in just under $1,600, $1,580 something dollars. That includes the $300 purchase price, and you can get a nice Starlet for $1,500 anywhere. You can get a nice Starlet for $1,000 anywhere, I think. But this one I've known the engine and all the driveline from brand new. I've serviced it every 10,000 kilometres because we use that engine from the other car. And of course, as I've said with the other parts, it's lots and lots of new stuff in it, so it should be good for another 200,000-300,000 k's really. These things go forever if you keep the services up, and you must do that with any car. Oil changes religiously every year or 6 months if you do heavy mileage or you're in a extreme environment with lots of dust and that sort of thing. So hope you've enjoyed this. The only thing I need to do at the end of this video is put the little life sticker on, which I mentioned before. I think that was $4 or so from Toyota, and there were 4 left and I've ordered all of them. So, whatever the case, drive safely, enjoy your bubble car, and I'll see you later. Ta-da! I think we better start on you now.